Hello, this is Kevin, Alpha Juliet 6 Echo Echo. I wanted to go over setting up a YSF reflector with you guys. I've set up two of them recently, one for a club I'm in, one for myself. And the instructions are very well done, but there was a couple things out of order, and some of the information was a little bit old or dated. So as of this recording, this will be what I think is the current way to do it. So let's take a look. If you want to set up a YSF node, which is Yaesu Fusion's network, you need to register for one at the YSF Reflector Registry. And that website is ysfreflector.de. It's over in Germany, and this is the web page for that site. If you come over here, I'm logged in, and you click on the installation of YSF Reflector, you have two options. You have automatic installation, and then you have manual installation. And we're going to use the automatic installation procedure. In the setup I'm going to show you, it's two parts actually. First is getting the YSF software up and running. Second is having a web-based dashboard for you to access the YSF system that you've set up. So there'll be kind of two steps we'll go through. Okay, so let me, you'll have to register for your node. I don't remember exactly. I think you have to have your DMR ID, something like that. You'll have to register. You'll have to get confirmation. You'll set up your account here. You'll have to do that on your own. And then once you're done, you're going to click on Register Reflector. And you're going to go through the name of the reflector, the description, the IP address, where it is on the internet, the port, which 42,000 is default, the country you're in, your call sign, your email address, and then the URL to the dashboard. And we'll go over this when I go through the steps. The Brandmeister bridge I leave empty because I'm not bridging it over to Brandmeister. Okay, so you'll submit that, and at some point you'll get a response, I believe, that says it's created, or this might already create it. I don't remember. It's been a while. Okay, and once it's created, it'll show up under Show My YSF Reflectors like this. This is my second one I've done. I left it simple. It's called AJ6EE YSF2. If you're in Pi-Star and you pull down to YSF Reflectors, if you have your Pi-Star in YSF mode or your hotspot, you'll see this in there. It's up and running. You could click it, connect to it, and jump in the room and use it. If I click edit over here, you'll see some of those things it asked you under the registration. The host, it could be the IP address. I'm using host name. I have DNS set up so I can just do it that way. I'm running port 43,000 because my other node's on 42,000. And here's the URL to my dashboard. I want to check that it's active, and I want to check email notification. The system, the YSF Reflector system, will detect if your node goes offline, if you're set up this way, and send you an email to let you know it's down so you can check it out. If you know it's going to be inactive, check this box. I'd imagine uncheck the others, and then that'll tell them not to check your system. Let's see, just in general, if you clicked on Start, you can see all the current YSF nodes that are online right now. And if I scroll down, or if I can just search here, AJ6, it shows my two nodes. All right, so going back to the setup, we're basically going to do this process. If you're using a Debian-based Linux distribution, which would be the Raspberry Pi, both of mine are running on Raspberry Pi 3. And the install script is here. You download it. Of course, you have to be on your Pi. We're going to use wget to grab it. Let me move my mic out of the way a little bit. And then we're going to run it. And it's going to basically set it up. So let me switch over to my notes here. Okay, I've switched over to my notes. And we've already gone through the YSF Reflector website stuff. So the rest of this will be done on your Raspberry Pi or your Debian-based computer, Ubuntu, whatever you're using. So you're going to go, you're going to log in. Some of this is going to be done in the command line, some of it's going to be done in the desktop. You can do everything in the command line if you understand Linux and how to install packages. That's up to you. But these are my notes, so I'm just sharing them. So you're going to log in, and in a terminal you're going to sudo su minus, and that'll give you a root shell. And then you're going to pull the install script from the ysfreflector.de website with this command wget and then this URL. It's going to drop that in the /root folder. I'm just going to say on your Pi because that's basically what I'm referring to in this. This is what worked on my Raspberry Pi 3. We're going to change mod. We're going to make this file that we downloaded executable. And by the way, wget and git are already installed on Raspberry Pi, so you won't have to install those. So when you see chmod a+x, it means all users get execute rights. Okay, and then we're going to actually run this script after we've downloaded and made it executable with this command bash space install.sh, and it'll fetch everything that it needs. It'll drop it into your Raspberry Pi. It'll put the startup script in the init.d folder. It'll create the binary. It'll create the YSF INI file, the YSF Reflector INI file that we're going to edit. It'll do all that. And then that just takes less than a minute. Once it's done, your YSF is installed, but it's not running. It has to be configured. So you're going to configure this file in the etc folder. You can use nano, pico, I use vi, use whatever you want. The three things you're going to want to set are that your call sign, your description, and your logging must be set to 1 in order for the dashboard to work properly later. So I have a copy of my file, my INI file here, that's running now on my node, on my YSF2 node. I put my name, which is call sign. I put my description, and I put display level equals 1. I also can change the port here. You can change it to whatever you want, and then if this is running inside your firewall, you'll have to pass that port in. If you notice on my before when we were on the YSF web page, it said my node 2's port was 9080. On my firewall, I told it to pass port 9080 through to this IP on port 43,000. You can decide how you want your setup. That's just how I did mine. Once that's done, you save your file and you start up the YSF Reflector using sudo etc init.d ysfreflector.sh start. And that will start it up. You could use ps, something like psax pipe grep -i YSF, and you'll see it running. You'll see the YSF process running. And then I also run a tail on the log file. It's for two reasons. One, I can see it hook into the YSF reflector.de server, and then it also is necessary, again, to have the dashboard running. You want this file to exist. If you don't have display level 1, if it's left on 0, which is the default, there will not be a file in this folder, and the file is going to be called something like YSF with today's date on it. So you'll be able to find the one with the most recent date. And tail minus F means, watch the last 100 lines and scroll them. As new lines come in, it'll scroll upward. So your latest logging information will be at the bottom. Okay, so now your YSF reflector is up and running, and people can use it. It should show up on the website if you go to, well, it will show up on the website. If the port's working, if your port forward in your firewall is working, and you search for your call sign or you log in and you look at your nodes, and it'll tell you if it's online. The next part of this is setting up the dashboard so you can see what's going on through the website of your YSF node. So the second part of this is all about setting up the dashboard. So your YSF reflector is done at this point. If you look at this URL, which is on GitHub, you can easily search YSF dashboard GitHub, and you'll be taken right to this page. His call sign's DE9VH. He wrote it, he or she, I don't know. And he has, I'm saying he generally, sorry. There's a readme.md file on that website, and it has all the instructions I'm going to show you. I've just put them in the order that I use because I found they were a little bit out of order. Okay, so on this website, you'll take a look at that README file and get yourself familiar with it. And this is what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do is we got to put the Pi user in the www-data group on the Pi. It's group 33 in the Etsy group in this file. Again, I use VI. You have to be root to edit this, and it will look like it'll look like this. And all we have to do is append PI to it and save it. So that's easy. We have to install a web server. And we're going to install Apache 2. That's what, I know there's other web servers. The instructions on the dashboard page literally say sudo apt-get install Apache 2. Okay, so that we're going to go that route. So we need to install Apache 2. We need to install PHP and PHP CGI. Let's see. And then this lib apache mod PHP, this is what hooks the PHP engine into the Apache web server engine. This was not listed on the notes, but I remember from all my experience with Linux that when I had problems with it, it'll tell you that it'll give you an error about write access. You could do everything according to the directions, but if this package is not installed, you'll get an error about write. It can't write, and that's because the PHP engine that's rendering the web page can't write back to the web server without it. Hopefully that makes sense. As you install the software, it will install all the needed dependencies. That's really nice with the package managers. And again, this is going to work whether you have, if you're doing it command line sudo apt-get install. If you're good enough at doing this, this is pretty easy, actually. Oh, there's a typo. But I'm going to show it to you graphically. It's just easier for me to describe it. Okay, so on the Pi desktop, if you go to, I can't remember where it is, but there's a program in there called add remove software. Just open it up, type in Apache 2. I had already installed it. So I even put a note, I already had installed Apache 2 and I took the screenshot. So yours will have a checkbox here, you'll just check it and you'll hit apply and it'll pull this software down, and and all the dependencies it needs and install it. For the PHP side, you're going to, and I chose PHP 7.1. I think I might upgrade to 7.3 for security. But in any case, just search PHP space CGI. This will give you PHP. Check the box. This will give you PHP CGI. PHP 7.1 Common. We need that one. And hit apply again. Here's the lib Apache mod PHP that I talked about right here. This is, whoops, this is the glue that connects them together. Whoop. A lot of whoops in my tutorial here, sorry. And that's that gets everything installed. As far as Apache and PHP are ready for the dashboard code to be put in it. So reboot your Pi, log back into it, sudo su-i, su-i, and use this command. This is in the notes on the in the GitHub repository here. You can copy and paste it. You're going to git clone this down to the root directory on your Pi. It just takes a few seconds. It's not much. You're going to copy it to var www HTML. On this version, on the Raspberry Pi version of Linux I'm running, that's the path to the web root, or document root, I think is the term for Apache. So sudo cp-r, that's recursive. So we're going to grab everything in root YSF Reflector dashboard. This, whoop, let me, another whoop. This folder is created when you git clone the code down. And so we want to put a star there. We want to copy everything in that folder to this folder. It's very important now that we change ownership of everything in this folder to be owned by the user www data and the group www data, not root. If you were to do this command, let's see. Where's my star? There we go. Before you run this and after you run these, well, actually these two commands, you'll see the difference in how the permissions are laid out. Okay, so your chown, you're going to change ownership recursively. You're going to give the www-data and the group the user www-data. It's in my head. It's not going to be out my mouth. And the group www-data permissions in var www.html. This will also hit this folder level too. It'll change ownership on this actual folder, but not these. So that'll be perfect. And then we're going to change mod, which is read, write, and executable permissions in this folder as well. So all the files in this folder are going to be change modded recursively. That's the -r 775. So the first 7 means read, write, and execute for the owner. The second number 7 is read, write, and execute for the group www data. And the third number 5, that would be read and execute for others. No write permissions for everybody else. So this is the owner bit, the group bit, and everybody else bit. We don't want everybody else in the world that logs in to be able to write to our website. That would be a security risk. Let's see. Okay, so we've got our permissions correct. You can now use this again and check it out. You'll see that all your files and folders are set up with the user and group. By the way, Apache, if you look in the Apache config files, in the security file, I believe it is, when Apache starts up, it doesn't start up as a root, it starts up as www-data user. That's why this all has to tie together. Otherwise the web server won't work properly. Okay, so once it's once we've done all this, we've put the code for the dashboard in the var www HTML folder. And one of the files in there will be the setup PHP. You're going to go to the IP address of your Raspberry Pi /setup.php and open it up. And you'll see a form to set up. All the fields look like they're filled in, but you have to type them in. You'll type in right over the top, just as they're shown. Easy to do. So it'll say like the path to the YSF binary. I think it's user local bin YSF reflector. Case sensitive too. You're going to type it just exactly the same as what you see. Fill out all the fields top to bottom and submit it. And then once you're done with that, we want to copy 2 files out of the var www HTML folder. First one would be the index. Well, I got these out of order. Let's move this setup PHP out of there first. Let's do that. So we're going to move the setup PHP file out of the document root using the mv command. Move var www HTML setup PHP space /root/. That'll move it to this folder. And we're going to do the same for the index.html. Apache by default will render the index.html file before it'll render the index.php file. So if we move this file out of the way, which would just say generically, hi, welcome to Apache. If that file's not there, then it'll actually run the index.php file, which is the dashboard. And that's it. Other than that, let's see. I don't set my YSF to auto start, my YSF server. Apache does auto start. So if I reboot the Pi, I do have to go back and run this command. You could use check config to change that chk config altogether, to set that to be on boot up all the time if you want to. And other than that, that's it. So hopefully that's helpful, and hopefully you get your node set up and running well. 7 3s, have a good day. AJ6 Echo Echo.